Hi, my name is Erin Micklow, and I'm here with Baba from Vintage Tattoo. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So how did your shop, Vintage Tattoo, get started?
Well, back in 1995, I decided that LA needed a true vintage tattoo shop. And I was really surprised to find out that the word vintage tattoo wasn't taken yet.
Yeah, you think it would be. It's
yeah,
kind
exactly.
of like...
I apprenticed in New York City with Jonathan Shaw, who's from the Shaw family. Because in Los Angeles, you came from one of two families. You came from the Shaw family or the Captain Jim family.
Okay.
So I tried to bring that tradition on, and I thought I had something to offer that wasn't around. And I did, and now 22 years later, we're still here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
So how many artists are at your shop?
Now there's just two of us.
Oh, wow.
But at one point we had 9, and I had 2 old-timers, one from the Captain Jim family,
Yeah.
and one from the Bob Shaw family, Rick Walters and Tennessee Dave. Tennessee Dave died 4 years ago, so we're going through this transition with the death.
So what got you into tattooing in the first place? Like, how did you get started, and what made you want to be an artist?
You know, when I was a kid, I grew up in Van Nuys. I was born in Hollywood, but I grew up in Van Nuys. There was a tattoo shop on the way to school. I was like 6, 7 years old, sneaking into the tattoo shop in the 70s. I saw like Bush for the first time ever.
Okay.
Like there was a girl getting tattooed on her thigh, and they had her
not
naked.
the band. For a minute, I was
No,
like,
no,
the
no.
band?
This
Like,
70s.
you mean like pussy?
Yeah, that straight from. No, I didn't see pussy. I just saw Bush. It was 74. There was like a big red field, and I was like, what the hell? I was 7.
Ew.
So we went in, me and my brother went in every day afterwards trying to keep thinking we could see more naked girls. We never did again.
Okay.
But then later on in life, I went from Van Nuys and all that to late 70s. I got into punk rock after my parents divorced, and then punk rock gangs, graffiti, and I was the first graffiti writer from LA to have a New York show at the Martin Wong Gallery. So I made all this money, and I'm out there. I was like, I'm gonna get tattooed.
Yeah.
And at the time, tattooing was illegal. It's 1989.
Oh, wow.
From 1963 to 1997, New York City was illegal.
That's
Big
interesting.
hepatitis scare.
Oh, okay.
But it really wasn't a hepatitis scare. That was the official words.
Yeah.
So I went to get tattooed, and I looked up this guy's name, Jonathan Shaw, and I was like, I remember that name from a magazine or something.
Yeah.
And I looked him up, and it was seriously like, you had to meet him on the corner of First and First at a bar, and it was very secretive. And
Kind of like speakeasy style,
exactly,
just to get a tattoo.
it was very speakeasy style. And he's a bohemian gypsy tyrant, is the best way to describe him. His dad was a big band leader, Artie Shaw.
Okay.
So I met him. I went through his. I went into his studio, which was also his house, and I was just like slapped in the face with his tattoo culture, and it called me.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to be a tattooer before I went in there. I went in there, and it was like I got haunted, possessed. So that was the beginning of my career. I asked him to teach me, told me to fuck off and hit me. And every time I went back, I kept hitting him up and hitting him up, until eventually I started learning.
Yeah.
Then I moved back to LA.
And then what were the steps when you moved back to LA? I mean, was it the same kind of laws out here for tattooing?
No, out here it was free for all. I was actually on Hollywood Boulevard, and they were opening up a brand new tattoo shop. And I went in there, I said, are you guys looking for artists? Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh, well, do you have a portfolio? There was a newsstand outside. I went outside, grabbed 5 magazines. I go, that's me, that's me, that's me. Because my mentor, Jonathan, put together ITA Tattoo magazine. So I was in all these magazines.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, okay, you're hired.
So it was legit you didn't just say,
yeah,
like,
I didn't
fake
even
it.
have to show anything, and I got hired. And
That's
then,
awesome.
You know, it was like starting all over again. And I did a second apprenticeship with Mike Brown about lettering in black and gray, and that became my forte.
That's awesome.
Traditional lettering in black and gray. Then I turned it into like death rock style black and gray.
Cool.
Which hence the dark romanticism.
For sure.
Now 29 years later, I'm still here.
That's awesome. So can you talk more about those punk rock gangs, and how has punk kind of changed from the time when you got into it up until now?
Well, the joke we like to tell people is I was punk rock when it was called Hey Faggot.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
we were getting beat up by like construction guys, cops, firemen, jocks, Girl Scouts, whoever the fuck you. We were just freaks.
Yeah.
And I was skinny, I was lanky, had a mohawk, and I was a target to get beat up. So like, that's how punk rock was when we first found it. But I was introduced to punk from my aunt, who's 5 years older. I was heavily into Kiss in the 70s, like every kid was. Kiss and Bowie, that was it.
Yeah.
And then my aunt gives me the Bollocks album, Pistols.
Yeah.
And I was done. I was just done. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, this is, at the time it was like, disco was in and the Eagles and all this other shit. And we were like, what the fuck is this shit? This does not speak for us.
Yeah.
And like, we were little kids, like semi-listening to Cheap Trick or something, and Sabbath, and I wasn't feeling any of that shit. And then punk rock was just like, it was a heartbeat. It was a heartbeat for skateboarding and all this other stuff that was LA culture.
Yeah, I feel like that's one thing that has just kind of carried over, because for me, when I got into punk rock just 12 years ago, you know, in 2006, it was like that. It's like a slap in the face when you hear these bands.
Either it is or it isn't. Lads was a punk rock gang. They were one of the first punk rock bowling leagues.
Yeah.
The LA Death Squad. That was, I knew about that. Alex Boxer is like one of the original Lads, and he was like, we have this punk rock bowling thing. And I was like, it's fucking gay. Not doing it. Whatever. But they were one of the original gangs too that we were going to talk about. They were that whole bowling thing turned into this big festival that kind of replaced what used to be what was cool about the Warped Tour.
Yeah.
The Warped Tour was really cool, and then it went like Alien Ant Farm for a while.
Yeah.
We don't even know what happened to them, and then now it's pretty much over. I heard it's like the last year, right?
For punk rock, Warped Tour, yes.
Yeah,
this year will be the last year, and then this year is actually punk rock bowling's 20th anniversary.
Yeah, what a lot of people don't know is Kevin Lyman was one of the guys that put on the Warped Tour.
Yeah.
And he was like H2O's manager and shit.
Was he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I found out about them because I was tattooing H2O. And they introduced me to Kevin Lyman, and that's how I found out about Warped Tour.
That's awesome.
It's like, there are real roots there.
Yeah, Warped Tour was the punk rock summer camp, and it gave a lot of these punk bands that are more established today, gave them their start.
Yeah, a lot of my friends, and then it brought back a lot of old guys. They got like a second start, like a second wind to people your age and your generation. Like for one, TSOL, really good friends with them. Warped Tour like gave them a serious kick in the ass towards getting back together and getting their shit tight. Now look at him. Jack's up there owning shit.
Yeah.
Like owning shit. Did you see how he fell off stage, broke a rib?
Jesus.
Next night he's out playing again.
That's crazy.
Fletcher from Pennywise was gonna stage dive with him. You got two fucking fat white males. There's 600 pounds between the two of them. Tried to stage dive. They got to the edge of the stage and just went down like a Chinese hooker. They were just like, boom.
Shit.
It's hilarious.
That's
the
terrible.
Next night they were in LA at the Regent Theater.
Well, that's fucking awesome that they powered through.
Yeah, exactly. That's punk rock.
What was it like going to shows in the 80s in Hollywood?
Violence. 100%
Violence?
exciting violence. Early shows were very exciting because we were little kids, and it was filled with a lot of cholos and just guys that just didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And you would go to these shows like at the Starwood, and it was just pure violence, and it was insane. And it wasn't like punk like 2 years later. Like when the Germs were up there, you were lucky if Darby even sang. Like they'd be playing in the background, kind of off tune and off beat, and Darby would be up there doing whatever, and you were lucky if you got one song.
Yeah.
Like you got something. Black Flag would come out and just kill it.
Yeah.
Black Flag came out and owned shit, and then they got banned really quick, and Fear was probably the one safe bet that you can always see Fear.
Yeah.
And that was just rad.
Because they were more like professional and wanted to go places. Because they were on Saturday Night Live.
That was epic.
Yeah.
That was seriously epic. I remember, where's my phone? I remember watching that, and my dad was looking at me and he goes, "You're just loving this, aren't you?" It was like 5 people were there, and it turned out later to be guys from Cro-Mags and Agnostic Front and stuff that were the guys in the audience.
Yeah.
They were just stage diving over this little tiny stage. LA, it was just pure aggression, violence, it was pure energy, lots of fun. And then it started getting serious. And then it started getting like the art part of it, the Bowie-ish part of it, the Germs part of it disappeared. The girls disappeared. And it was just leftover guys, and it was pure aggression.
Is this when people kind of started to say, you know, punk is dead, and then that's where the saying punk's not dead came from?
Punk died about 2 years after the gang started because we killed it. We ruined something that we loved by being too violent, and people didn't want to go because it wasn't safe. And we did the gang thing out of our own safety.
Yeah.
Basically, Suicidal fucked everything up. They would show up and fuck everybody up. Like, you would have to fight like 10, 15 guys in a gang to be in the pit. They would just jump you. And then if you were from the valley, you had to deal with that. And lads were there. And then it was just protection.
Why were they doing this? Just to establish who was the alpha dog, or?
Yes, it was a very, very fucking, I'm the biggest fucking, I got the biggest cock.
Yeah.
That shit. I got more friends than you. FFF was in the valley. I was from BPO, Burbank Punks, and we were in the valley. Mickey Mouse Club was in the valley. And La Mirada Punks. And that's probably the original 6. And then after that, there was a black punk gang called Posers. And they were like influenced from like ska and Crips.
Oh shit.
Like, you know how everybody dresses now with like Dickie shorts and Converse high tops?
Yeah, yeah.
Posers invented that. The black punk gangs are the ones that invented. We didn't wear shit like that.
Yeah.
We wore like khakis with creepers, white t-shirts, and leather jackets. That was like the punk gang look.
Yeah.
And then Suicidals wore the flannels, but Posers showed up with like the long shorts and high top Converse.
Kind of the Pennywise style.
Yeah, but it was a Crips style.
Yeah.
The Crips dressed like that, and these were like little brothers of Crips. They were going, and Posers were like, no, because you didn't expect to see these black guys in the pit, and they just showed up. They're just huge, bald, and they're fucking people up.
Yeah.
And it was rad.
I mean, that sounds terrible,
Fishbone
though.
kind of came out of them.
Yeah.
Fishbone, proper ground, stuff like that. Yeah, they were, but it was amazing because you still survived. You went with your boys. It was exciting. You knew you were going to fight. You came out of it, but you did not realize that this scene that you made your own, you just murdered.
Yeah.
Murdered it. And at the same time, punk just got like blown away. And then there was skate punk, thrash punk, metal punk, all this other stuff. Where at one time we were just like punk. And then
it became all these like subgenres.
Yeah, the subgenres just made it like, you would never see hippies in the pit, and then you would go see like DRI in like '85, and hippies were there.
Yeah.
Anybody with long hair was a hippie in our eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
You didn't have to be a real hippie, but if your hair was long, you're a fucking hippie, and we beat you out. We were assholes.
When you hear these founders say punk rock is so safe today, it does kind of feel...
Oh, it's completely safe.
Safe for me not knowing that and coming into this. I mean, I can go to a show and, you know, I'm not going to feel unsafe that maybe I might get jumped tonight or I might get stabbed.
There's a scene in suburbia with a semi-rape, and we saw that on a regular basis, unfortunately.
I read that in the NoFX book that would happen a lot. They in the 90s in LA.
Well, not even the 90s. We're talking the 80s. It would happen. But yeah, in the 90s was a whole different thing because 90s was like everybody just got out of rehab and they were trying to like hold on to their tough guy thing while you had this more, the women basically, the women took over music in the 90s with, you know, the whole Lilith Fair and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So the women were just as aggressive. Like I heard one girl from L7 like flicked a tampon at somebody. Like that's rad to me. To me, there's nothing more punk rock than that. It's like, fuck you.
Was it
my
a used
bloody
one?
ass tampon.
Was it a used one?
Probably.
Ew.
I heard she popped it out right there.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Disgusting.
So women were not standing for it anymore. It was like a very interesting time then. Like I see women just knock people out.
Yeah.
And it was good. I was like, ha!
Yeah, the women were just as scary then too. I also saw that in the NoFX book. They talked about their girlfriends and how they would just beat the shit out of guys.
Yeah, well, because guys, unfortunately, men were a bunch of assholes, and we think that you guys are just sex objects, and we don't realize that you guys create life.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a respect there. It's good. Some guys are like, oh, you're in the pit, you belong there, what happens there stays. No, fuck that. You see a chick get hit, you fuck them up.
It does still happen, you know? Like, you have to have those guys to protect you or be a girl that can really fucking throw some punches, but then security gets all pissed at you and thinks it's you and throws you out.
Yeah, security is a whole nother story.
Yeah,
Security
is
a whole
if there was but they don't protect you.
Jack Grisham said that the other day at the show. He was like, if there was no security barrier, we would have fell on people and not almost broke a rib. There was that 4-foot barrier. They went straight down, hit the ground. If it was the old days, they would have been caught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you. Security is a different thing. It's like they're not really securing anything, but they're here, they're being paid, and they're harassing us.
The security nowadays are the construction guys, cops that used to beat our ass when we were kids.
Yeah.
They just think, I can get away with hitting motherfuckers here.
So you also co-own a nightclub in Hollywood called Cloak
I don't
Dagger.
co-own. I'm a member.
You're a member.
I'm a member.
You're a member,
I'm a very visually seen member, so people believe the co-owning part. I'm a member.
So can you talk about Cloak and Dagger? What can you share about it? I know it's a very exclusive nightclub.
It is a very exclusive club on Tuesday nights. It's members only. It's all black everything, and it's basically Adam Bravin's love for music from the 80s.
Yeah.
Which is now labeled dark wave, but used to be back then. It was just K-rock music back then. Depeche and The Cure, Bauhaus, Susie, stuff like that. But Adam is an established DJ.
Yeah.
Like
he was in She Wants Revenge.
Yeah, he still is. They just played the other night.
Yeah.
Like She Wants Revenge. He was Prince's DJ.
He was
DJ'd
Obama's
for Obama,
DJ. Yeah.
He was also, like, when we were kids, he was 2 years younger, so he was one of those Valley kids too. And he would DJ parties, and he loves hip hop. Aphex is his other club, and Giorgio's is his other one.
Okay.
He has 3 clubs for the styles of music, but he gets up there and he mixes like Notorious B.I.G. into Susie, and you didn't even know shit like that existed.
Yeah.
Like, can you name a goth U2 song?
No.
Yeah, I didn't know one either until he played Under the Blue Sky or whatever, Bullet the Blue Sky. When he plays that mixed with The Cure, you're like, holy shit, U2's got a goth song.
Yeah.
Same with Duran Duran. There's 2 of them. There's The Chauffeur and Come Something. You're like, oh wow, these are fucking amazing songs.
Yeah.
And you learn that from watching Adam or listening to Adam. He does have a SoundCloud. If you go to SoundCloud and type in Cloak and Dagger Club LA or X Cloak and Dagger X, you can hear the mixes.
Okay.
And other than that, it's very dark. It's very exclusive.
So what makes it special? Like, what makes this? Because it does have a really big cult following.
It's safe. I'm not really allowed to talk about any of the stuff, but what I can say, if you wanted to go there, it's safe. There's no douchebags. It's a place where no matter how famous you are, there's people standing 3 feet away from you, and they won't bother you.
Yeah.
There's no photos.
Isn't it true they lock your phone up when you go in, or is that not true?
No, it's not really true, but if you get caught taking pictures, your phone will be outside and you'll be following it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how rumors like get really, really dark.
Yeah.
It's like,
but that's how you know it's an exclusive club.
Yeah,
because
but it's very safe. Like I said, women can go there and be who they want. In fact, some ways the women are more powerful than the men at Cloak and Dagger. They pretty much dictate the dance floor and stuff like that. It's not like guys coming up grinding on you.
Yeah.
If a woman grinds on you, let her do it, and when she's going to leave right after the song, let her go.
Yeah.
It's a very empowering place, and Adam and Michael have created this very dark, safe, exclusive club where you can go and just enjoy.
So how does one become a member if you wanted to?
There is an application online on xcloakanddaggerx.com that you can go on, and that's a good starting point. But if you really want to be part of that scene, look at the Instagram and see what we're about or what you think we're about and show interest.
Yeah.
You don't want to just have somebody because it's exclusive. You want to have somebody who really wants to be there that's into it. Like I ask people, they're like, oh, I want to go to Cloak. I go, do you even like the music? Can you name 3 Bauhaus songs?
Yeah.
Can you tell me like how Sisters of Mercy and fucking whoever's related?
Yeah.
Can you name an Adam Ant goth song? And they're like, no. And I go, then why do you want to go? If you don't even like the music, why do you want to go?
Yeah.
It is a very big fashion show too, though. It's really hard to keep coming up with original ways of wearing black.
Yeah.
Very hard.
So what happens if you don't wear black?
That you won't get in with that.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's got white lettering.
Wow. It's that serious?
Not serious.
Why though? Just because
all black.
It's promoting the scene and
it's soothing. It's very stylish.
Yeah.
It's just all black.
That's
There's
cool.
no exceptions.
Black like the soul.
If I walked in and I had not all black on, I'm not getting in.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's very, very, very. There's rules for a reason.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun.
Well, I think that's also just what contributes to the exclusivity of it and what makes people want to be there, because if you don't follow the rules, then you don't have to be there. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
I got to say, as an older punk, I've seen you in the scene. I've seen you at different shows, and you're consistent. And that's a good thing, because some people, it's like they do it and it's like a weekend thing, and I don't know, you probably got my attention about 3 or 4 years ago, but it's good to see a girl like have her own thing going on and be herself and then go to these shows but still do your own thing.
I want to leave with this. A friend said, if you have to say when I was punk, if you ever was, you never were.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Exactly. Hey, this is Baba, Vintage Tattoo in Los Angeles. You're watching Last Rockers TV.